Taj, before we get started, I just want to say I love these new 530A accounts as a multi-generational planning tool. So whether you're a parent or a grandparent attending today, you're going to want to make sure to pay close attention to the 530A accounts as a fantastic opportunity long-term for compounding for your family.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Today I am joined by two other members of the Financial Planning Committee, Scott Warner and Johan Simpson. We'll be discussing the ins and out, like Mike said, of the new Section 530A, also known as the Trump accounts. Everyone here may have seen some recent coverage on the new accounts, and we want to walk through how they may actually apply to your situation. Just like Mike said, at ACM, we believe these accounts are a great long-term multi-generational savings tool. Created under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act in the summer of 2025, these accounts were launched on July 4th of this year, and they're really designed to help children build wealth starting from birth. Big thing to think about here is the first 18 years, or until the child turns 18, no withdrawals are permitted from these accounts. And they're under the parent's control. This is known as what's called quotations of the growth period. Once the child reaches 18, the account converts to an IRA and the control fully shifts to that child. At that point, they can either take withdrawals, which could be subject to taxes and potential penalties, or leave the funds invested for retirement. Investment options for these new Trump accounts are limited to low-cost U.S. equity funds. The default fund is there bolded in SPYM, which has an extremely low cost of just 2 basis points or 0.02%. All future variations you see up there are legally capped at no more than 10 basis points or 0.10%. Next up, contribution limits, right? Who can contribute, how much you can contribute. There are a few different ways that money can get into this account during that growth period until the kid is 18. First off, there will be a $1,000 seed contribution from the federal government for those children born between 2025 to 2028. As a reminder, any child can have one of these accounts, but only those born within these years are eligible for the free $1,000. Secondly, and the biggest amount are going to be the individual contributions. These can come from parents, grandparents, and others. The contribution limit is $5,000 per year and will increase starting next year in 2027. As a reminder, the seed contribution of $1,000 from the government does not impact this $5,000 annual limit. Thirdly, the employers can also contribute to these new 530A accounts for the child of an employee. This limit is capped at $2,500 annually, and that $2,500 is excluded from the employees, which in this case would be the parent's taxable income, and it is deductible for the business as an employment benefit. Lastly, there are some major charitable contributions supporting these accounts. You guys may have heard of Michael and Susan Dell Foundation pledged $6.25 billion to fund deposits for 25 million children in specific zip codes. Closer to home here in Boise, Micron did announce a $250 million investment for children in their operating areas. Big thing to know about these charitable contributions, if the child does get one, that it does not count towards that $5,000 annual limit. Now I'll pass it on to Scott, where he will discuss more about the management of the 530 accounts and planning considerations to look out for.
All right, how do we open and manage these accounts? First thing you should know, these accounts are self-managed, which means that we can't actually open or manage them for our clients. Similar to how we may have worked with you on your 529 plans, we're more than happy to help you through the process and help you figure out where these accounts might actually fit into your family's plan. Step number one in opening the account is to confirm that the child is in fact eligible for an account to be opened on their behalf. Only one account can be opened per child, and they should not have reached the year that they will turn 18. You also need to make sure that you're eligible to open the account for the child. Only their legal guardian can open the account, which means that grandparents who aren't legal guardians should not open these accounts. If you're in this situation and you want to contribute to one of these accounts for your grandkids, have the conversation with the parents first, let them open the account, and then you can contribute to it. To open, go to trumpaccounts.gov and you're going to follow the steps to download the app and file Form 4547. This form is what establishes the account. And for eligible children, which as a reminder are those born between 2025 and 2028, you have to make the election to accept the $1,000 seed contribution. Once that Form 4547 is filed to establish the account, you'll now be able to activate it at trumpaccount.com or through the app, whichever your preference is. And if you'll notice, this is similar, but it is actually a different link than the one you used before to file the form. It might take a few days after the form is filed for the system to allow you to activate the account. Once the account's fully set up, you can make contributions and your investment selections through the app or the website. I do want to point out that the feedback we've had from clients who have gone through this is that they've made it really fairly easy to follow. All right, so we know what they are, how to set them up, and your next question might be, where might this fit into my financial plan? And here's a few things that we think about when it comes to planning for these accounts. Number one, take the free money. If you have a child who's eligible for the $1,000 seed contribution, you should take the free money and give your child a head start on their future. You should also remember these are essentially starter retirement accounts. Any contributions should be made with the goal of helping the next generation get a head start on saving for their future in retirement, and with the understanding that since these are retirement accounts and they do receive tax deferred growth, they also come with withdrawal restrictions. As Taj mentioned a minute ago, withdrawals are not allowed before the child's 18. And once they turn 18, the account becomes an IRA. And at that point, withdrawals are going to be subject to tax and penalties before 59.5. So if your goal for this money is for it to be used for any shorter term needs, whether that be college, first home, maybe starting a business, there might actually be better ways to save toward those specific goals. Now, for the person who is interested in building multi-generational wealth, there is a super interesting planning opportunity with these accounts. Since these accounts become IRAs at age 18, that means you can also convert them to a Roth IRA at age 18. If you think about it, a young person that's just getting started in their careers is likely going to be in the lowest tax bracket they'll ever be in. So there's a great opportunity to convert this account over to a Roth IRA at really low tax rates, and then just sit back and watch the money compound tax-free for the next 60 to 70 years. Johan, let's take a look at what this strategy might look like over such a long time horizon.
Yeah, of course, Scott. So putting some numbers behind this. This chart, first of all, is hypothetical. It's not tracking any real account, but it highlights the potential impact contributions to a 530A account can have on a child's future retirements. Getting into the chart details, this chart is assuming $1,000 in seed money at birth, plus $5,000 a year in contributions through age 17, growing at a hypothetical 9% annual return. At age 18, the account is converted to a Roth IRA, which triggers a tax bill, in this example around $32,000. From there, the full balance keeps compounding tax-free. By age 59.5, the child's Roth IRA grows to about $8.2 million. To be clear, this is a hypothetical growth rate meant to show the power of starting at birth, not a projection or a guarantee, but it makes the point that consistent early contributions, time in the market, plus that Roth conversion can have a meaningful impact on a child's retirement needs. So how does a 530A actually stack up against the tools previously available? The UTMA, a brokerage account for minors, and the 529. Before we dive in, one important piece of framing. A 530A isn't an either or decision. It's an additional planning tool for what you're already doing. Opening one doesn't mean you can't also fund an UTMA or a 529. With that in mind, let's walk through the 4 differences that matter most when you're deciding how to prioritize. First, contribution limits. A 530A account caps you at $5,000 a year, combined across everyone who contributes. UTMA and 529 accounts don't have a federal contribution cap at all. The only thing that comes into play is the annual gift tax exclusion, $19,000 per giver in 2026, so $38,000 for a married couple. And 529s even let you front load 5 years of gifting at once. So if a family wants to move real money quickly, a 529 or UTMA gives them far more room. Second, how the money grows. A 530A account grows tax deferred, similar to a traditional IRA, with distributions taxed as ordinary income. An UTMA is a taxable account. Gains in an UTMA are taxed at capital gains rates. 529s have the opportunity to be the most tax advantageous. Growth is completely tax-free as long as it's used for qualified education expenses. Third, who controls the account? A 530A account hands the keys to the child at 18. It becomes their own IRA. An UTMA works similarly. It transfers outright to the child, typically between 18 and 21, depending on the state. If you're worried about a young adult getting full access to a large account, that's a real consideration. A 529 is different. The account owner, usually mom, dad, or grandparent, keeps permanent control. The child never takes it over, which a lot of families like. And finally, what's each one actually built for? Think of the 530A account as a head start on retirement savings, started the day a child is born. Think of the UTMA as the flexible option. It can be used for anything, a car, a first apartment, or a business. And the 529 remains the purpose-built tool for education costs. So 3 accounts, 3 different jobs. A 530A account for an early start on retirement savings, an UTMA for flexibility, and a 529 for education. As we said at the start, this isn't about picking just one. It's about understanding which goal each dollar is working toward and layering these tools together where it makes sense for your family. If you have any questions about how a 530A might fit into your own plan, please reach out to your advisor. We're happy to walk you through the numbers with you directly.
So Johan, we actually did receive a good question here in the chat. They want to know, how do these 530A accounts differ from a minor IRA?
Yeah, at a high level, the major difference is a minor IRA for contributions, it requires the child to have earned income. In contrast, a 530A account lets families start investing from birth because no earned income is required. Since many children don't begin earning income until their teenage years, those additional years of compounding in a 530A account can make a meaningful difference compared with waiting until they're eligible to contribute in a minor IRA.
Johan, I said at the beginning, I love how these accounts can be used for really intentional multi-generational planning. So thanks for the excellent overview.